We are right on time, actually. Yeah, good. Okay, so now I think we are live.
Okay, great. Thanks,
All yours.
Vikram. Thank you. Hello and welcome everybody to our LinkedIn Live today on Valydaye4u, where we will talk about KYC, the use cases, jargon, and compliance. Right. So I'm Upasna, and with me is Vikram Sareen, Chief Architect and co-founder of Bluebricks. We also have with us today our core engineer Ram. Hi Ram. Other than being a
Hello.
product expert, other than being a product expert and deploying the product at a few places, Ram is such a joy to work with because he is always ready to help. Absolutely anyone can reach out to him for absolutely anything, and you'd be assured Ram's going to do his best to help you out. And he's also a dog lover like me. So I remember in COVID, he had this little puppy that was, I think, a golden lab, right? That was always
Yeah.
there in the meetings, and always a big chunk of our discussions used to be around, the puppy. So that's Ram for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ram. And moving on to today's discussion, KYC is a legal requirement for. There's some sort of ping that's coming anyway. So, yeah, KYC is a legal requirement for financial institutions and financial companies to establish a customer's identity and identify the risk factors. So, KYC helps prevent identity theft, money laundering, fraud, and other financial crimes. So KYC starts from onboarding customers with verified identities, going over to continuously monitoring these, users. So right now, customer onboarding is disconnected with different vendors addressing different aspects of the same problem, from screening to Face ID on cloud. Onboarding ideally should be, by a single provider, a single platform, so that it's streamlined and it's not complicated, right? So customer onboarding, moving on, customer onboarding is made up of ID proofing, ID verification, plus screening, and then later on continuously monitoring these users, which is ECDD, which is extended customer due diligence. So ID proofing, as we know, is providing enough information to establish an identity. So here we do checks like active and passive liveness, face to ID match, location checks to make sure the person is in the same country, within the bounds of the same country. All of this is covered in ID proofing. Moving on, ID verification is where the details in the user's ID are checked against the existing government records to prove his identity, right? So, for example, your Indian passport details would be checked to make sure that those records are present within the government's records. Extended due ID screening is where the records are evaluated by different people within the organization before they are finally approved. So it's not like
Yeah.
the users IDs are checked and then just one person is sitting in in the office of a financial institution and just approving everybody. It has to go through different layers of people within the organization. This is to avoid any sort of fraud or human error that could occur. Then moving on to extended due diligence, what that means is that the system needs to continuously check these records through an extended period of time and notify if there is, if there is any changes that are happening to it. So, for example, if somebody got approved in January and a few months down the line, his name has moved into a blacklist, of sorts. So that new change, that new development, the system needs to catch that and be able to report it, notify it to the bank or enterprise. So today we'll be discussing our Validate platform that covers all of these four aspects through a single platform. So proofing, verification, screening, and continuous monitoring. All of this is done through a single Validate4u platform. So you don't have to go through different vendors and try and work out how things are going to fall in place. It's all in one under one umbrella. And moving on, Vikram, if you could just take it on to the next slide. Vikram, can you move to the next slide, please? Yes. So Vikram will run you through Vikram, I'm going to hand it over to you. You're going to run through the process of it and how things actually work. So Vikram will talk about the use cases and compliance, and then Ram is going to take us through a little view of the dashboard. Of course, we cannot
Yeah,
go through the entire demo in one
yeah,
go,
yeah.
but he will make you go through some of the important aspects of the dashboard, and then we'll take it from there. So over to you, Vikram. Vikram, I can't hear you. Is it just me? Ram, can you hear Vikram?
No, sir. Actually, sir is not audible.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. Vikram, are you there? We can't hear you. I think Vikram's on mute. Vikram, you're on mute. Anyway, while Vikram's working that out, I'll just talk about, Validate for a bit. So onboarding, which is, we have 17 plus checks to ensure that the real, oh, Vikram has logged off. I think he's having some network problems,
Yeah.
right? So this slide is, of course, and he's logged off and he's sharing his screen. So we are in a bit of a, in a bit of a spot right now. Vikram, you're still on mute. So we have 17 plus checks within Validate that do, your active liveness, passive liveness. We do OCR. You could set your policies. There is Q&A, and this slide shows our stack. This slide is also covering a lot of the features from our multi-factor authentication platform as well. But so we have AML and PEP checks to verify identities. I think Vikram's having some tech issues today. All right. So if we run through a simple process, right, an organization would typically start with setting policies, assigning the agents within their organizations, integrating their workflows, right? And then once the onboarding process starts, you have, you would have your OCR
Okay,
attract.
sorry.
Vikram, can
Uh,
you? Yeah, we can hear you now. Is everything
okay,
all
sorry
right?
for that.
No problem.
Yeah, one second, Sana. I think there's a bit of a. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. I think there is a bit of a lag, but we can see your screen.
Sorry.
That's okay.
One second, guys. If you guys move ahead, I don't know what's wrong. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes,
Okay,
sir.
one second. Yeah,
We
are
can
you
hear
guys
you.
able to?
Yes, we can see the going offline. So I guess this is the first use case where we will be discussing how you can use digital technologies to actually onboard people even when you're offline, even in areas where you have very poor network connectivity, like could be remote provinces or regional areas where network's not great. So because Validate4u is embedded within the application, all of these checks that you see that are done for KYC are done offline, and so that opens up a big possibility for organizations to take onboarding away from the paperless method that has been going on for really long. And also, if you have two separate ways of doing KYC, right? The urban areas are mostly done moving on to the digital way of KYC. But if you still look at the remote and rural areas,
Yeah, are you
it's
guys?
still heavily paper based. But if you can bring everybody under the umbrella of digital KYC, it really streamlines and makes everything that much simpler. Vikram, are you there? So Validate
Yeah,
does digital onboarding without paper. That's just the same thing that's happening with internet is also
yeah,
happening without internet.
guys, am I with you? Yes, I am. Am I again off?
No, we can hear you now.
Wow.
We can hear
Okay,
you now. That's all right. We can hear you
guys,
now.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
yes,
can
sir.
hear
We
you.
can
And
hear
we
you.
can see Sonic offline with Validate for
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So no problem. If you can hear me, let me take over. Uh, I think we'll just stick to this one. I have no idea what's happening on my end. Guys, can you hear me?
Never mind. Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
I think, okay, then I think let's
Second,
continue with that.
I've
Okay, so
almost
let me
covered.
start.
Yes, go on. Okay, there seem to be some serious issues with Vikram's.
yeah.
Vikram's, unfortunately, his network's not quite agreeing with him today. So I think the second use case that Vikram was talking about is when you have operations in different in different regions and different countries, and you want different, and you need to comply to different policies and requirements from different countries and areas, right? You need a system that is flexible enough and that can help you set those policies and compliance requirements that are specific to each and every country or geographic region that you're talking about. You could also segregate it basis, say if some on transaction level basis. So if there are some high value transactions, or if you want to onboard corporate clients, so you could have a different set of checks and a different set of checks for retail banking, or so the system offers you flexibility in both these terms. Now I really need the presentation to see what's the next use case.
Mm,
Ram, you're not able to share the demo, right?
yes, ma'am. Like, sir need to approve the screen. I shared
Right,
screen,
because
but it is in lobby only.
because it's working through his system. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, yes, ma'am.
we need to wait for that. Unfortunately, I don't have the slides with me, so we'll just wait for just one more minute, and then we'll probably reschedule it for next week. I'm so sorry, guys, whoever's logged in. It's just not, I think technology is not really agreeing with Vikram today, and we might need to take a rain check for today. I think let's take a rain check for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. I'm sorry that we are not able to continue this session, and we'll see you probably next week, and we'll have the same session running in next week. We'll discuss our onboarding process, the platform that supports, ID, your ID verifications and onboarding, how it works online and offline, and what are the different use cases. And hopefully next week, Ram, you'll be able to show us, a quick demo, and
Yeah, yes, sure, ma'am.
next time. Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah, thank you,
Bye.
ma'am. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.